All right. Good evening. This is Penelope Flynn. I'm your co-host and moderator of Discussions from the Otherhood. And we are talking tonight about one of our favorite things, which is Christmas Carol, which is one of our favorite Christmas type tales, literature, film, TV. And we want to discuss all the different iterations that we have of Christmas Carol and which ones we like best, which ones we like least. But before we get started, we're going to talk a little bit about the weather. And our weather right now is crazily good. I mean, I don't know if Otto wants to jump in and say anything, but it is right now on December 14th, it is 60 degrees. And it was higher than that earlier. So we had I guess a week or two back, it was in like the 40s, 30s, and now we're into the 60s. So I have no idea what Christmas will hold. I wish that this is the type of weather that would hold for New Year's, because we're going to be traveling around that time. So I really hope that that's good for us back for that time. But right now, lovely. I mean, just we don't have to have your heater on or anything like that. We're just enjoying, this. I mean, we did get some rain, so that was another thing. We did not expect to get any rain, but we did get rain. But now, we're fine. So with that said, and I'm hoping that some of our other individuals will drop in, but right now it's just me and Otto. And Otto, anything else you want to say about our weather, our lovely weather?
Yeah, it's great. I don't have to use our electricity. So our electricity bill is going to be really low this month. Yay! We get to save money.
Yay! I'll figure out some way to get it out of us otherwise. So, there you go. But
Well, I would say the electric bill for last
mhm.
month was $200 less than the previous month.
Wow,
That is significant
that is significant. That is
because
very
of because of the weather.
wow. All right. So I like that a lot. But again, they'll figure out some way to squeeze it out of us later on. You know that. But tonight we're going to be talking about one of our favorites, and I hope one of yours, which is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And just as we get ready to get started, we got Sonya just dropped in, and since she's up there in the cold country, I guess we want to hear what her weather is like before we step off into our Christmas Carol discussion. So, Sonya, we're just talking about how great our weather is down here. In fact, right now it's 60 degrees. It was warmer than that earlier. What do you all got? I can't hear you. I don't know if you're muted or your mic. There you go. Oh, you were there just for 1 second. I still can't hear you.
Go. Should hear me now.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Uh, well, we haven't seen 60 in a while. We got close to 50 earlier in the week. It's now 21
All
degrees.
right.
It was a balmy 32 of a high today, but
Wow.
really strong. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, the sun was blinding and it wasn't reflecting off of the snow or anything because all the snow melted and then came right back.
Whoa.
Um, Supposed to get down to 19, so we'll see.
19?
Yeah, it's supposed to get down to 19, and then it snows tomorrow again, tomorrow afternoon. And then it's going to slowly climb back up, get up to like 47, then melt everything, and then go back down again. So
Wow.
if you hear me sniffling, it's not because I'm sick, it's because the weather just decides we don't care.
Well, for both of us, we've been kind of sick for the past couple of days. I mean, we just the sniffles and head cold stuff. So yeah, it's been, even though we've had great weather now, it kind of was crazy because it was low, like in the 30s and stuff, in the 40s. In this today, it started out early on, I think like in the high 50s and stayed went to the mid high 60s and now dropping back to 60. So I'll keep it, but
Yeah, you can shove a little more towards us too.
yeah, we'll
We'd appreciate it.
right now. Well, we're just getting ready to start our discussion about the Christmas Carol. And Dickens' Christmas Carol is, I mean, it has become such a standard of all of our Christmas, holidays. Everyone that you think of has probably done a version of a Christmas Carol. And we were earlier talking about which ones, at home, we're talking about which
Mhm.
ones we like best, the ones we like least, the ones that are most memorable. And so, everybody can get a piece of this holiday story with, its traditional Gothic ghosts and the redemption arc. So, do you have a favorite one beyond?
Um, it's a
Mhm.
tie between the Cicely Tyson one and the Patrick Stewart one. Of course, Alistair Sims is a he's the god of all Scrooge, but beyond those, that one, I can't remember what Cicely Tyson's one was called.
Miss
Um,
Scrooge?
Miss
Miss
Scrooge,
Scrooge.
Miss Scrooge,
and then
yes.
Ebby. Ebby was the Susan Lucci was the worst of them all.
Okay. Well, how was it? I mean, how can you possibly mess up the Christmas Carol? Why was
By
it so bad?
treating it like a soap opera.
Oh.
You know,
Uh-huh.
it's Susan Lucci, Madam Soap
Yeah.
Opera. She's much more talented than that, but that's not what the direction they gave her.
Oh, how awful. All right. Well, that's bad. I don't know. Otto, I was going to ask you, what your favorites were, and I guess you start on your son. You say the Susan Lucci one. You said the Miss Scrooge, the Alistair Sims version, and what was the other one? I thought you said a third one.
The my favorite of all time is the Cecily Tyson one,
So
and
what was?
Patrick Stewart. I
I,
forgot about Patrick's.
yeah, the
Patrick
thing is,
Stewart did one as a one man show too.
oh,
In
okay. See,
addition,
I never saw that.
yeah, he did both. He did one was a TV movie for I think for TNT or something like
Hmm.
that, and then somebody recorded his one man show version.
And I've never
And
seen the one man show version, but I got to say the one I think that he did for, I don't know who he did it for. I don't recall liking that one too much. Or maybe I'm thinking about the one. Who's it with? Oh, what is his name? Oh man, I can see his face, and I do not know the actor's name.
George C. Scott.
They did it a few years back, and we tried to watch it. And it starts off with this very dark premise. This little
The
boy
one
out
on
there
TNT.
on his grave. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. And
Yeah,
it
the
started
guy
out
pissing on his
really,
grave.
yeah. And who was the actor in that one? It wasn't Timothy Oliphant. Who was it? Um,
yeah, TNT does it often. That's the problem.
but this one was one. I think it did have Patrick Stewart. I'm not sure, but it was. It started out really good and dark, and then it just kind of meandered into a whole lot of meandering. So it just never. I don't think I even saw the end of it because it just meandered so much. And I wish I remember the name of it. I'm going to look it up. But that one was one of my least favorite ones because the thing bothered me the most about it because it looked so good. It looked like all the trimmings. It looked like what you would expect this film, the show, this to look like. And I think it was I don't even know if it was a film. I mean, a movie. It may have been done in
It's a limited
pieces.
series, I think.
Yeah. So in that
Yeah, the
sense,
Patrick Stewart was a one time movie. I remember that one.
and this one is a limited series. And it was, again, like I said, it started out, with this really great dark concept. And then just kind of, went off the rails. Guy Pearce, that's who it is, Guy Pearce.
No.
And it was not good. It's 2019. And I'm on IMDb now, and I'm looking, and it shows the one you're talking about, the Christmas Carol Patrick Stewart one, is in 1999.
Yeah.
And I don't recall, I don't know if I recall seeing that one. How about you, Otto?
Yeah, so I didn't care for it that much because after a while that role of Scrooge gets really it's done. It's almost like somebody doing
Mm-hmm.
Shakespeare. It's
Mm-hmm.
we know the lines. What nuances can you bring to it? But my favorite Christmas Carol of all time. Uh, is Richard Williams animated version
Mm-hmm.
that was done also by Chuck Jones, and Alistair Sims does the voice of Scrooge, the
Yeah.
way he did it in the 1950
Mm-hmm.
version of Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so to me it emotionally attaches, and so it has an impact emotionally watching. It's only 20 minutes, but
Yeah.
it won an Oscar. Um, it's free on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a really great, I think, still undiscovered gem.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I would say that one ranks also in my top five. But if I had to pick one that is like, quintessential for me and also nostalgic, brings back, a lot of memories from childhood and adulthood too, because we both watch it a lot. And that's Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. That one is with the music in it and stuff. It's just really, it's really great. I mean, of course, the animation is not, the best, top shelf like the Chuck Jones version, but really, it's like with the Chuck Jones one, as beautiful as it is, artistic, that it cuts some things short. You know, there are segments that are pulled out of it that are present in the Mr. Magoo version. It's like they don't
Yeah, but
miss.
I would argue though that the Mr. Magoo version is really good, and a lot of times I watch it in the middle of the year, regardless of what time of year it is, because if I feel it kind of down and kind of and blah, I'll watch Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. It makes me feel better. But the Richard Williams one has stuff
Mhm.
in it that I've never seen in any Christmas Carol before.
True.
I think, and I'm thinking, one of them is, of course, the ignorance and want, and the
Yeah.
other one is the singing of uh, uh,
God rest you,
what is the
Mary
song
Jo.
that? Yeah, just over without any musical accompaniment. So that really, it just hits you. It just really emotionally hits you.
Yeah. And I remember us first, one of the first times we ever watched it together, and that we were saying how it was one particular portion of it really affected us when, Scrooge and the Ghost of Christmas Present are flying over, these places, these desolate places, like where the miners are. It says, they know me, who work the bowels of the earth, they know me. And the guys who are in the lighthouse, just two men, drinking, talk, and toasting, singing, God rest you, merry gentlemen. And then out on the ocean, where this guy is the only person that appears on the deck of the ship, and he's, of course, steering and just singing the song out there by himself, alone, and not performing for anyone or anything, just singing. And that to me, that scene always got me. And you said the same thing for you, that scene of the flying, oh, he's out in the middle of the ocean. I'm not seeing to anybody or for anyone, but just out in the vast ocean with me and my God, in this moment. And I always thought that was wonderful. So yeah, that one has a special place as well for me. I know Nikki just jumped in. I guess you could talk a little bit about your weather, Nikki, and then your favorites with regard to the Christmas Carol theme.
It's 72 degrees. It was raining earlier today, and that's about it. It's nice outside. It's partly cloudy, but it's nice.
Must be nice. I mean, we're at 60 degrees.
Listen,
Well,
listen to how she gives her weather though.
I mean, I know, just kind of like,
It's 72 degrees, and it's just nice. It's like what
yes,
is? It's so
You know
damn
what?
blase,
I'm not even
blase,
going to
I
say
know
blase.
you.
anything to you,
Yeah,
And
Oscar.
then
and
I'm
and
done.
then
we're on
and then
here, and this is
Sonia
Sonia. So you tell her
has
what your weather is.
has teenager weather to the 19.
Your weather is younger than you, way younger, and you're
Yeah,
freezing.
your numbers reversed was our high.
Mm,
Well,
wow.
everybody pack your stuff and come on to Fort Lauderdale.
All right. It's an open invitation. We'll take it.
That's right. Just everybody come on.
All right. We don't say we were. We know we didn't warn you. Don't say we weren't coming.
Yes.
We show up.
Okay.
What are y'all doing here?
Yeah. Oh no,
Come
we'd be glad
on.
to have you.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
The movie A Christmas Carol.
Yep.
I'm gonna be honest with you all.
Hmm.
I never liked any of them.
I mean, I'm not saying this necessarily the movies, but almost everyone has an iteration of it. Every TV show, especially comedies, usually have a Christmas Carol. Like, when we saw the
All
last week,
right, all right.
we
Since we're
watched
talking
like the
about
Odd Couples Christmas Carol. They had one.
Sanford and Son had one.
Okay. And okay, so who was who?
Well, of course, Fred was, the Scrooge,
Of course.
and Lamont was all the ghosts, Christmas past, present, and future. And that was it.
So what was the big deal? Why was he being painted as a Scrooge in the first place?
Because he was being mean to this young man who wanted to come over, and he wanted to the young man wanted money for Christmas. So Fred's tell the young man, okay, you got to clean up the whole junkyard, you got to paint the house, you got to come in and finish decorating my tree. And
Okay.
Lamont called him a Scrooge, and he went to
Why? I mean,
he
they're not rich people.
but just to have him doing all this stuff, it's like these are jobs that he was supposed to do, but he
Ah.
was pushing them off on someone else.
But he was going to pay him, right?
Yeah, about $1 a day.
Oh no. That's
Yes,
awful.
it was. Well,
Yeah, okay. You're right. That's very Scroogey. That's very Scroogey.
yeah, but
Okay.
that
He
was it
deserved it.
though. That was
He
my
deserved it. So how about, I know you said it's not your favorite, but which one or anyone that you saw that made you think, ugh, I don't really like this particular story. I don't like Christmas Carol. Was the one in particular that made you feel like, I mean, I can't believe that you don't
yes,
remember the
yes.
Mr. Magoo one. We used to love that.
Okay.
It's
Um.
just like she didn't like the truism of the story. Basically, it's the
Uh,
same, whether it's Sanford and Son or any
hmm
I'm gonna
movie.
tell you
But
what.
basically, it's like
I'm gonna tell you
hmm
who Scrooge reminds me of. And
What?
it's so sad. Scrooge reminds me of my brother-in-law Otto for some reason.
Hi, there you go.
well, except I ain't got no money, so.
Oh, there you go.
But it's
Hmm.
basically it's the same thing. Somebody starts off life with high expectations of themselves and the way they see themselves, and they enjoy all the things of life and have ups and
Simple thing.
downs and ups and
Yeah.
downs. And then when they're in their older age, they've been so battered by life that they
Hmm.
have a wealth of cynicism, and then
Yeah.
they have a change,
Hmm.
a kind of change of heart because someone's
Yeah.
comes back to them as a ghost and tells them, look, you're not going to have much
Remember how
time
you used
left
to
on
be.
this earth. You got to turn things around and start thinking about people other than yourself, including your sister's son, who you promised your sister on her deathbed that you're going to look out for him.
Yeah.
So
You
that
remember Joy.
it's the same. Yeah, it's all a variation of that, and it's
Hmm.
that's why it's so enjoyed. And almost every TV series on has had done a
Right.
Scrooge or Christmas Carol version. Sanford and Son, Laverne and Shirley,
Hmm.
Odd Couple.
Yeah.
Everything. Everyone's done
Yeah.
one.
Because I think during the Christmas period, all year, every year, people want to tell you, especially the churchy people, how terrible and bad and everything is, how terrible and bad and the sinner that you are. And somebody like Ebenezer Scrooge embodies some of the worst parts of that. His miserly, attitude, his disdain for humanity. That's the thing that we are all taught that we should avoid. But he embraces that.
He embraces it, and also, there's a lot of truisms in it. It's like,
Absolutely.
the people come and ask him for, charity, like give to the
Mhm.
charity. They don't even bother to know his name. They don't know, are you Scrooge or are you Marley? They have no idea.
Yeah, they
That's
just show
number
up
one.
at your door and say, "Hey, I could give us some money," but don't even take a step to even come in one
Right.
day and say, "Who,
And then
who is?"
and then they ask for money, and then
Mm-hmm.
they, and then they ask for money, and he says, "I pay taxes. Are there no prisons? Are
And
there no
work out.
workhouses? people think that way now. People
Mm-hmm.
think that way now. And
Mhm.
and the thing is, it's like, well, yeah, there's prisons and workhouses or whatever variation of these places that exist in today's society. But they say, well, a lot of people would rather die to go to those places. And he says, in the famous quote, "When
Mm-hmm.
they should go ahead and die and decrease the surplus population."
Yeah. And that's the way some people are and the way some people feel. And I think that the important thing about the story of um, Christmas Carol is that it could easily end differently. This person could just say, I embrace what it is that I have become. This has served me well. I still don't care. But it's about redemption. And, the fact that people tell, others all the time, because if you are Catholic, you're told you get to go to church, you pray, you go to confession, and in that way, you can be shed of your sinful behavior. You can do good works in order to be shed of your sinful behaviors. But a lot of religions aren't that way, and people feel that this sin, this all these horrible things I've done, they're on me forever, and I can't. What is the point of me changing? And I think that that's the importance of a Christmas Carol, that these three ghosts come and they tell them no, that there is redemption. That is a very sharp, redemption arc in this thing. And I think that the Christmas season to tell people that you can be redeemed. You may look at your life and say, I've done so many terrible things. Why stop now? Nothing else is going to save me. And say, no, as old as you are and as miserly as you have been, that there is redemption for you, in doing good works, in
Well,
being,
but the thing is one of the things they say in the Richard Williams version, animated version, is they have people, well, maybe the Alistair Sims version, I'm not sure, but they have like people on the street, women, mothers with their children sleeping on the
mhm,
street, and then you have the ghosts of rich people trying to throw money at them,
right? Yeah, they're
and and
throwing the money at
and it
them.
has no, yeah, it has no effect. You could have done that while you were alive, but you didn't.
Hmm.
And the line is, they try to interfere in other people's lives for good. So interfere for good, like it, interfere something that's bad, that's going to happen to somebody, and make it a good thing, and do it while you're still alive,
I mean, you
you
can
know,
do it
because you
while you.
won't be the regret. Yeah, the regret.
Hmm. And I think that the course of people's regrets sometimes is so great. The burden of regret is so great that people want to ignore it
Mhm.
and just keep doing what they're doing because I will. In the one, I think it may have been even the excuse me, the Mr. Magoo version where they talk about the issue of gain and where he makes the comments like on the one hand, poverty is like it's so horrible, but then on the other end, when you try to make money, then they say you're so horrible. You know, it's like you can't win for losing. And I guess that's another true thing that he wants to avoid this horrible thing of poverty, but when he embraces this frugality, I mean, miserly frugality, he becomes just as bad. I mean, whatever was not just as bad, but what society deems as bad, being too rich and too poor.
Well,
You
it's like
know.
Miss Scrooge.
Hmm.
Like Miss Scrooge, she saw, if you watch the movie, there are a lot of great performances by a lot of black actors. I thought Cicely Tyson did an okay performance, but a lot of the other actors were really good,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
showed, the things that happened to her as a child, that happened to her family,
Hmm.
and you can understand her being really, aiming to be successful and to get money, but it
Hmm.
seems like in that goal to get money, you forget why you're getting the money, and then you treat people like you never wanted to be treated when you were in their position. You were in that same
Yeah.
position.
But in that story, I think they did a wonderful job of showing that his friends were supposed to help. Them open a store once they came back from the war, and they all, kind of flaked on him. And then
Racism.
yeah, and he said, well, fine, I'll do it myself. But then as he tries to do it himself, racism, of course, rears its ugly head. They try to burn down his store and succeed in burning down his store and killing him,
In
at
the
the same
process, he tried to
exactly.
save his store, and then they wind up the heartbreaking thing is they got so destitute they wound up selling the home that their grandmother had
Left to
given
them
them. Yeah,
because he had, like I said, her father had a lot of hopes and dreams, but he didn't have money and he was not good with money. And she swore she would never be that way. So these are all responses to things that were real that happened to her.
and she finally gets money.
Hmm.
She finally gets her money, but in her reach to get money, she achieved it, but then she forgot. She had the journey, but she forgot, the destination. Once she reached her destination, she just forgot about things, and that's what happens. It's like you're on this human journey, and then you may reach your destination, but you forgot why you set out on the journey in the first place.
Hmm. And I thought it was very interesting in Miss Scrooge. I mean, we talked about this before, I believe. The segment when her boyfriend, her beau, tells her that he's an attorney. He wants to go back to the South and fight in the civil rights movement. They need attorneys, he said. So he wanted to go back south. And he was telling her, we can go together. He didn't have a job yet, but they can, get down there and do stuff together. And she's kind of like, are you out of your mind? That I have a job, I'm here. And when we saw it the first time, I thought how sad, that she wouldn't make that journey. But now older and hopefully I think wiser, I look at it and I think, wow, what nerve he had to come to her, a black woman, during a period, beginning of the civil rights movement, where she has a job in Rhode Island, where she is actually, I guess at that point, was moving up into this business that she was working in. I guess did a whole lot of things with loans and things of that aspect. And he wanted her to leave that and come down south with no thought as to where it was that she was going to work, that she would have to start all over again, and didn't even consider that. And I thought, wow,
Well, that's the
that
thing
was a
about that.
big
I
ask on his part.
Well, my question about that to y'all,
Hmm.
so y'all saw the movie,
Yes, yes.
but Miss Scrooge, but is she supposed to regret making that decision or something, or why is it that they show that?
I think it was showing the beginning of her when she started to close her heart. And that's the theme I got from the show is keep your heart open. Yes, you can strive for success, but remember to keep your heart open. And it seems like that was the beginning of the icing over of her heart.
Hmm.
I didn't see. I saw it too, but I didn't see it that way. I thought that I think was a reasonable thing for her to make. But I thought the
Hmm.
thing that closed her off was right after that thing happened. It was bad. He was leaving, and she did not have him, but everything's
They
gonna be
made
okay.
such a great couple too, by the way. They
Right?
was
They did.
a
Yeah,
very good couple.
yeah. But everything's gonna be okay because my brother's on his way back home from the military.
Right,
And
right,
then
right,
it's the
right. That
message
too.
that her
Yeah.
brother has been killed, and that's it. That's it.
That's the like last straw for her.
That
Heart's
is it.
closed.
Yeah. Then there's
All the men left me.
nothing's left. Nothing is left.
Well,
All of them
let
now
me
is
ask you
getting
this.
money.
Let me
Hmm.
ask you this: if your partner said, let's go to, we got the civil rights thing. It's obviously very important. Leave your job and let's go together. It's like we're both in our like mid-20s or something. Let's go do this thing. Would you go or not? And you already have a job. You got a job, and then you may not be able to have the same access in a more restrictive environment. Would you leave or stay?
I would stay. I would say, look, you go down there, you get yourself established and ready to go, and then we will revisit this issue. Because what you're asking is not just that we go down and help. What you're saying is that I'm going to go there and build my career, and you could potentially lose yours. So, you know, I have to leave the career I have and possibly never have another career.
Or
So,
possibly, but possibly could.
or possibly could. But the thing is, that's what I say. You have to get established first, because both of us
But
cannot go down.
that's not in the story. It's a yes or no question. A yes or
There would, have,
no.
there would be no. It
I
would
have,
definitely no.
and I'm not even sure.
I mean, I'm like
You
I
wouldn't
just
be sure. Sonya
I
says you wouldn't be sure.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, because it's
Hmm.
similar to the situation I'm in right now. I left it. I thought I had a career. I left it and to try
Yep.
and restart, and it's not restarting right away. But now I'm seeing slimmers of hope. But who knows? Back then, would she have even been able to see slivers of hope?
Right, because it's a different world.
Hmm.
I mean, she's in Rhode Island, and he's talking about going down south, and that is not looking like a positive thing in the air. And let's face it, even she went there, and there were, I mean, because I experienced this even coming out of school, at a graduate school. You go to places, we so great. There's black community, and people are doing the same stuff that I do, and you go to them and say, "Hey, here I am, and I'd like to come work with you." They say, "Well, no, there's no room for you here. No room at the end." You know, when you think, okay, I first off would try to join my own people and doing the same stuff, but
Hmm.
there's no room at the end, and you go down there trying to get yourself established, thinking that you're going to do that, you could have your heart broken. I don't know if you have experienced the same thing, Otto, but I'm sure you have seen, heard people doing that same thing.
Well, that's racism, right? That's
Hmm.
you know you're going into that thing.
Right,
So
right,
coupled with racism is also sexism, right?
Hmm.
right.
And she works for Ebenezer Scrooge works for a white
Another
woman,
woman. She works
another
for a
woman,
woman. She doesn't work for a
right?
man.
And the woman is hard on her, but giving her opportunities, but it's a hard on her. There's no to my mind, there's no white women in Georgia that are going to give her an opportunity to do anything.
Well, she
Mhm.
doesn't know if there's
Yeah,
anybody like that.
right.
Yeah.
Anybody like that, right?
And are you going to leave on a wing and a prayer, hoping with it there's a black
It's
person
tough.
out at
If
their
you have
own?
to, you know what? It's like going someplace based on faith, and
Mhm,
it's not maybe a loss of closing a heart, but a loss of faith, right? It's like
mhm.
you sometimes you step out on faith,
Hmm.
and she didn't step out on faith, and sometimes that's a misstep. If you don't step out on faith, sometimes you lose faith in
Mhm.
certain things. So that was an opportunity to step out on faith. And she said, "No, I'm not going to step out on faith. I want to stick with what I got right here."
Yeah, that's true. But again, it's like, what is her faith in herself and her abilities, and what made her go get the job in the first place? So she did that. She went out and she got that position. She stayed in that position and worked really hard, to move up. And then for someone who's at the very beginning of their career, as he was,
But you do it together. You're doing it together, right?
but you're
So
really
it's like,
not. You're really not, because he's at the beginning of his career. She is already established. So he's saying, take your established career and uproot yourself. And me,
hmm
I come down, and do these things. But let's face it, that when you're going down to these places and you are an attorney, a lot of times, even if you're not working for a firm or anything, the civil rights movement, a lot of the churches were supporting, some of the attorneys who are doing this work. So you have a system that's behind you. But how many, churches are going to support somebody who, just is an accountant? I don't know. Or if they have accounting
we got
firms.
somebody, we got somebody doing our books already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but I could understand why she would be hesitant to do that.
But you know what? To me, in the way that the story is told, and the way that the Scrooge Christmas Carol story is told, is like Sonia says, it's a step. It's a step that she regrets not taking. You can always say, well, she did the right thing or whatever, but it's a step she
Mhm.
didn't take.
I
So
don't
the
know. If she
step,
regretted. I don't know if she regretted it. They never showed
then why
that.
show it? Then why show
But they
that?
show,
So
but this is the thing you did. Not that she regretted that she did it, but this is a thing that you did.
This is
So,
where the path was taken when you
mhm,
decided to go down this path.
right. And she may not have regretted that she did that. But I think the true regret was after her brother died, that she did not take care of his son. That, this, And that one is reiterated in almost every
Well, the thing is
Scrooge.
about Scrooge.
Yeah.
The thing about all the Scrooges, all the Scrooge things is that Scrooge, when he's visited by the ghosts or whatever, Christmas past, present, and future,
Mhm.
he Scrooge has made a decision, male, female, in Miss Scrooge's instance, that they are alone. They made a decision, and based on the decision, based on career or money or whatever it is, they no longer they're not coupled. They don't have a partner. They don't have.
They've separated from society.
They're separated from some sort of somebody who cares about them. Like some sort of matrimonial or relationship thing. They've cut it off because of either career or or a pathway to money or a pathway to success or whatever. They made that decision, and there are all of them are alone.
Yeah, but I guess my position with Ebenita is different. It's because she saw what happened to her father. And, Scrooge, the usual Ebenezer Scrooge, kind of moves in that direction based on the people that he worked with, becoming more and more leaning toward focusing on gain. But Ebenezer Scrooge's position was more reactionary. She saw what happened to her father because he did not know how to hold on to money. And she said that, that
And she
thing.
right, and I think she was gonna find out how to make money work, and she did it with a vengeance, right?
Yes, yes. Because she saw that her father said, my father, and she was talking to her beau and telling him, that my father, had dreams, you know, but he didn't have money. And that's how that destroyed their family. They had to sell their house. And she, that one scene where they show her mom says that one of the neighbors gave them some eggs, like 2 eggs. And she, her brother and her mom, and to be able to make these eggs so that they would have something to eat, because they didn't
Yeah,
have, you
that's a
know,
very good movie. I mean, Miss
you know,
Scrooge is a very good movie. I think it stands to be redundant. The only hesitancy I would have about it is that I think it'd be hard to cast now. It's a Hallmark movie.
mhm.
I think it's. Sonia may know this, but I, I hardly ever see it on the Hallmark channel being replayed. Um, but I don't watch Hallmark that much. I people that even black people that I've talked to, they say they've never seen it.
Which is crazy. This is for us
I
to
don't.
say this
Yeah, I
Christmas
don't
so.
know who owns the rights to it. I
Mhm.
think it's one of those that got tied up in rights and nobody knows who owns it.
Well,
Maybe.
it was shown on the Hallmark channel in the beginning, and it was a hard for the like several years that it existed. It was played on the Hallmark channel, and then they just stopped playing it. So now it's on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube.
Mhm.
But you know, very few black people that I speak to that watch Hallmark channel and like movies like this, exactly like this.
Mhm.
They've never seen it.
I know, which is crazy.
So it's one
Yeah.
of my favorites too. It's one of my
Mhm.
favorite movies as well. Favorite Scrooge movies, yeah.
Right. And they show it. It is a 1997 Hallmark movie. And yeah,
But it's
like
not shown on the but it's not shown on the Hallmark channel anymore.
Which means somebody else owns the rights, not Hallmark.
probably, or maybe one of those things that when it was first done, it was amalgamation of people that were
Yeah,
involved. Did
but it was a Hallmark movie,
yeah.
and the thing is that a lot of movies are shown over and over again and become Hollywood. I mean, Christmas classics like A Christmas Story or Elf or
Yeah.
Scrooged, even. But this one doesn't. People don't give it an opportunity to become a classic.
Yeah, I just put that as a link that somebody has it on YouTube, and I put it up there so you can see that that's it. So if you are interested in taking a look at Miss Scrooge, you'll find it there. But it's
Yeah, it has to be an opportunity to become a classic.
Yeah.
Like the Richard Williams
Yeah. Wow.
cartoon. That's very good. It was on YouTube for a very long time, and
I remember.
we used to watch it, and it only had like a couple, maybe like 1,000 views,
Mhm.
and then over the years, it's like it jumped up into the millions of views because I
Yeah,
guess
'cause
people caught up
yeah, we
word of
first started
mouth.
for it. I remember us looking for it. Remember that we would say, okay, remember that
Yeah, remember that show when that thing happened? Yeah.
show, and it was a cartoon, and I remember us looking for it online and finally finding it. So that's
Now it has
another
million. Now it has millions of views.
fantastic. I mean, it deserves to have millions of views. It's art. It is just lovely. I mean,
But
what a
sometimes
what.
you have to. This is how you have to. I guess you have to search for your your classics
Mm-hmm,
because they're just I guess networks and whatever media puts what out there what they want you to want to become a classic
mm-hmm,
because of as Sonia said rights or whatever who owns it or whatever.
mm-hmm.
And so that's but you have to search things out so you can't just be stuck with Elf or Scrooge. Even the first Christmas Carol,
Mm-hmm.
that's not the one with Alistair Sims in it. The one with Alistair Sims comes afterward.
And the other one's horrible.
The first one's
I
bad.
think first one's up in public domain now. I think
Yeah, that's where it
finally.
belongs. It's horrible.
It is terrible.
The
That one was
second one with
Well,
Alistair Sims, the one with Alistair Sims on it was, I think, even endorsed by the Dickens family. They
yes.
said this is the best version.
Yeah, yeah. It's really lovely. It's one of my favorites. It's like during this season. That's one of the things that this is a warm and cozy type of thing to watch. So yeah, one of my favorites.
And Mr. Magoo, my God, you got to pay, to get that.
Really? What do you have to do? Which streaming service is it on?
The streaming service that I use, not the streaming services.
Okay, you have to pay. All right.
If you
it
don't,
Netflix.
might
if you don't,
it
you
might
don't
show
pay.
up on the. I know that Me TV cartoons got a whole rights to a whole bunch of stuff. It may show up there this year.
Okay, cool.
There's a chance. I can't pick it up here, and they
You could
say that it's
try. You could
available here
try
in
on.
Rochester, but I haven't been able to get it.
Okay, and I'm
You know,
I'm I'm looking now on YouTube, and they have a buy or rent
yeah, that's all you get. You buy or rent it.
for
But there's a
YouTube. Yeah.
what's the name of the what's the name of the platform? I forgot. Hold on, it's not Move. It's Daily
Tubi.
Motion.
Daily
Daily
Motion.
Motion. You can get it on Daily Motion, and they had the full thing without commercials on Daily Motion, which also has another Christmas favorite of mine,
Hmm.
The Miracle on Mott Street, but that's different.
Yeah. It's not a Scrooge thing.
Not a
It's
Scrooge thing, but anyway, Daily Motion is where you find Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol because
Mhm.
otherwise you have to rent or buy it.
Yeah. So and then we talked about some of our favorites, but I also mix in some of my not so favorites.
Oh
And one
God!
of my not so favorite versions is Scrooged.
Oh, I hate that.
That was so horrible.
That's
Uh,
so tried so hard. Had so many
mhm,
resources.
mhm. Yeah, it was just so bad. I mean, I just kind of like, here we're going to take Bill Murray and we're going to put him in this role, and it seemed like he was just kind of sleepwalking through it. Like,
No, the thing is, he didn't get along with the director, and he
well, yeah,
shows it,
that
and it
it shows.
shows
Mhm.
It shows. It was really bad. I mean, it's like and also I thought he didn't, put in a really good performance.
because he didn't
Like,
give a shit. He didn't
yeah,
care. He
hmm
said the director. What was the guy's name? The guy who did Superman, I think. What was his name? Um,
Donner.
yeah, he didn't know a damn thing about comedy. So why is he
well,
directing this film?
I think the problem is this, and I guess that's the problem, is that Murray was a comedian, and maybe Donner didn't want it to be quite so comedic. Maybe in his mind it should not have been as comedic as Bill Murray was trying to make it.
Com-
Eventually. Mhm.
I was gonna say comedy is funnier if somebody is playing it straight
Yeah,
for the straight drama of it, and you watch the absurdity of what's happening around them.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
because I
it's
And
looked
that's
true.
a
I
at.
mean,
hard balance. That's a very hard
Mhm.
balance to, especially if somebody's used to yucking it up.
Yeah, and for
well,
instance, I think of what is the other film, Groundhog Day, that maybe Donner was thinking more of a Groundhog Day type of thing, as
well, you know what I
opposed
think?
to hmm
I think that you have when Eddie Murphy did an interview, and he was saying that when he did Beverly Hills Cop, the I think the guy wanted him to be like be a Eddie Murphy like comedian thing,
hmm
and he played it differently. And I
hmm
think that him playing it differently made it a better movie. I think you're probably right. I think Donner maybe wanted to be more serious. You know, like comedian. The comedians play serious roles. That
yeah,
some of them have turned.
great serious actors. Okay,
Yeah,
that we lose, we lost Otto
I
there.
think. Yeah,
Oh yeah, okay, he's back now. We got him.
reel them back
Yeah,
in.
wanted Murray to be that, and then the thing is about Murray, he didn't wanted him to maybe wanted him to be more serious, and then Murray after that movie, after a couple of movies, goes on in this trek, this philosophical trek that
hmm
he's trying to do, like the Razor's Edge, and
hmm
all of these like serious philosophical, existential, metaphysical movies.
hmm
But he had the opportunity in Scrooge.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that he played it really like this kind of madcap thing. Okay, Groundhog Day was in 1993, and Scrooged um, was in 1988.
Yeah,
And so
Scrooge felt like a Saturday Night Live skit gone horribly wrong.
I think you're
yeah,
right.
and it did, and I
Where
think
he
maybe
probably
Donner.
learned the lesson, and that's why Groundhog Day is a little bit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, because the thing is, there's a bunch of movies when directors didn't get along with actors. You
mhm,
have Rosemary Baby when Polanski didn't want Cassavetes. He didn't want him in that role. He didn't want him. They didn't like each other, and
mhm.
somehow that tension came out in the movie and made it a really good performance and a really good movie.
And that, I
But
mean, to
sometimes,
me,
but
that is
sometimes it
due
doesn't
to,
go. It goes horribly wrong when
yeah, Cassavetes did a fantastic job.
yeah, and Polanski didn't want him at all, and
And I think it's
he
because,
made it very clear that I don't want you.
but I think it's probably the issue too is that Cassavetes also was a director. And so
Mhm.
you've got these two people, one director who's a director, one director who's an actor. And you know how that can be. You can't have two directors on set.
Well, you can. You
Yeah,
just have to work their no work and figure out how to work together.
but
One of them,
the
I
end
know, you
product,
can only have one, and the one who's the actor director has to stop directing.
well, the
I
end
mean,
product,
writers get in trouble for that, for uh, telling actors, well, when I wrote this, this is the kind of way directors don't tell people how to do anything.
well, the end
Director
product,
tells them how to do it. Not care
the
if
end
you wrote it.
product,
Director tells them.
yeah,
You know?
the end product was good, and the problem with Bill Murray is that he wears his emotions on his sleeve. Like I don't want to
Mhm.
be here, and I
Yeah.
don't respect this guy, and
hmm Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
turns out to be a very bad movie. Like
Yeah.
Sonia said, a very bad, very long SNL sketch.
Yeah. Agreed. And it didn't work out for them very well. So I guess anybody else have any that that really? got them in that say this is just not working for me. And one of the ones you don't like, Otto, is the George C. Scott version.
I don't like George C. Scott version. There's also a Rod Serling version, Carol for Another Christmas.
Hmm.
It tried. I know what Serling is trying to do, but it just hits off kilter. Um, there's a bunch of animated versions
Hmm.
that are really bad animation. They're free on YouTube.
They're free.
Um,
They're free, right?
there's this Disney version with
Scrooge
Jim
McDuck,
Carrey,
that's right. But there's a
with
Scrooge
Jim
McDuck one too. That's how it
the
worked
Scrooge
out.
McDuck, the
Yeah.
Jim Carrey version with
Oh yeah, and that's a weird one because the CGI and stuff is really well done.
it's 3/4 of a good movie.
Yeah, Deep West was a good movie, and just and then at some point they just they just stop.
Then it turns into like Dumb and Dumber or some Jim
Yep.
Carrey thing at
Hmm.
the last half 20 minutes, 15 20 minutes. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
But
and,
the
and
but the first but the first 3/4 of the movie is really good, I think.
it's great, but it's like they can't hold it, all the way through to the end of the film, which is so sad because it could have been a classic, and it's why people don't refer to it much
Well,
anymore.
the
Oh, it's
problem
still
is though,
referring to Mr. Magoo is still referring
right?
to that.
Scrooge McDuck. But the thing is, Penelope, is that we talk about Jim Carrey a lot. Jim Carrey needs a director with a strong hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me. But
I think he lost Sonya.
oh no. Oh, I don't. Right. So I don't know what happened.
I got bumped. My camera went. "No, I'm burping." So
Okay. But I think the other one that I thought was, as you like to say, mid, Otto, was the one with Albert Finney. I think it was a musical.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, that
yeah.
one was also a little. I'm gonna say this is the problem with it. I remember only like a few scenes because the rest of it is so not memorable.
I don't remember it at all. I remember watching it, but I don't remember it. I don't
Yeah,
remember any of the scenes.
not
Exactly.
memorable.
Exactly.
Not memorable. And this is not a bad actor. I mean, he's a classic actor. But that was again,
Well, so is George C. Scott. But
I know that was
the
that
thing
was.
is about the thing is to me, George C. Scott, Patrick Stewart, Albert
Mm-hmm,
Finney, all very fine actors.
mm-hmm.
But it's like doing Hamlet. How many times am I going to see him? I know what to this the thing to dream perchance to dream to sleep.
Yeah,
We heard the words already. Are you going to deliver them differently or
yeah.
what's
What are
going
you
to
gonna do?
happen? Yeah,
And that's the thing. I feel like, what are you going to deliver with it? What of yourself, are you putting into
George
this?
C. Scott is Scrooge. Okay,
Yeah, and that's about what it was. Just kind of like here's Scrooge, here's George C. Scott doing it, but doesn't bring any more layers or nuance to it, which is why Cicely Tyson doing Miss Scrooge was so good
it was good because it was so different.
because more layers, more nuance. Just I mean, people say Alistair Sims did it, and then nobody else needed to redo it, because he did it to death. I mean, he really did. Um, I
Yeah, I
don't.
mean, but the Cicely hate to keep going back to Miss Scrooge, but it's like it's a retelling of it, and it makes for good watching. Just
Because
you have to find a reason why it only you can remake this version since it
right,
is public domain and
right,
so many people know the story. What are
right.
you going to bring different
right.
or
You
what nuance? Yeah.
got to make
And
people.
it's like Mr. Magoo Scrooge,
Mhm.
Christmas.
Yep.
It's like they have songs that were kind of leftover songs from Funny Girl.
Mm-hmm.
So these are Broadway's quality tunes.
Quality, and I love them. I mean, we remember the vast majority of them. We could sing them all, right now. It's because they are so
Winter
ingrained.
is warm. Winter is
Yes,
warm. It's
yes, I love that song.
really good. I
Yeah,
mean,
I love that song.
really great tunes, right? Really great songs.
And all the little things, but raspberry dressing.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
And you know the song about we don't have much,
That's
and
right.
we may have more in the future, but let's
Yeah,
thank God for what we have now.
the Lord's right blessings. Whenever we're together.
Yeah,
That's
I love that. I love
I love
being a poor boy. I love
it.
that.
Yeah,
I love that song, and I love that movie. I love
yeah.
that clip. Yeah,
Because I think that it shows, it doesn't show him just as some of the films miss, some of those nuances of, this is a person who, especially the relationship when his girlfriend, when Belle tells him, that she releases from his commitment to marry her.
I
And he
release you from your contracts.
release you. Our contract is an old one, and I release you. And he was saying, what did I ever said that I wanted to release? Not anything you said, but in a changed nature, you know, that
You
he's
fear the world. You fear
you
the world,
feel the world too
and
much.
that's
Yeah,
a isn't that the worst thing for a young person to
yeah,
be?
to feel the world
Is to
too
be
much.
is to be afraid of the world. It's like
Huh.
that's
But
the
that's what
last. You can't be.
the money is. The money is his buffer. It is his armor against the fear of the world, you know? And his old self is, he can't change what's happened, but he's trying to respond, you know? He's trying to respond, what he should have said all those years ago, decades ago. But again, the spirit says these are shades, it would have been, they don't hear us. And, I see now, 30 years later, when I look back, 40 years, 50 years later, what it was I should have said then. What an idiot I was, because I have all the money now. I just didn't know that having all the money would not make me less afraid. Having all the money would not make me more safe. It would not make me feel more loved.
It
But you don't
just
know.
apparently it just makes you bitter, right?
Yeah. And all of it is yours and you're alone and it's mine. I have it and everyone around you, you think they're trying to steal it or get it or, take your money, which is really important to you because again, if you fear the world too much, you are not going to have faith in anyone or anything.
And apparently, like Scrooge McDuck, there's a lot of fun in counting your money on just
Yeah.
not spending it or
They're
anything.
just counting it.
Just just get all the money that you have, put it in
Uh-huh.
one place, and count it
Oh,
every single day, and then put it back, and
yeah.
then come in the next day and do the same thing day after day.
He's like Smog, the dragon. I'm
Yeah,
sitting there
exactly. Yeah.
counting my
I mean,
money and my money. All
has
my money.
anybody ever experienced that? Have you? Anyone on the experienced having a whole lot of money and
Never
never
quite
spending it and
experienced
just
that
counting it
before.
every day? What's
Having
that?
all I've never quite experienced that before.
Yeah.
Maybe it is fun.
It might be, but I want to try that, once or twice and see how I feel about that. Let me count my money a little bit.
Yeah, just get like a couple $100,000, right?
Yep, yep,
In single bills,
yep. And sit there and count
and
it.
then count it. Don't spend any of it. Just count
Nope,
it,
just count
and
it.
then put it back,
Yeah, yeah.
and then bring it out every day.
Yeah, I like that. I'd like to try some of that. I want to get to that business.
But you can't don't spend any in it. Don't.
I can't spend
And
it.
then
I
because
just
somebody walks in the room while you're counting it, get mad at them and say,
yeah,
"Get
like
out! Get out of here!"
remember that in Miss Scrooge when she has her room to go in that little room in the back and nobody's
She got a
supposed to
little
know it's
secret
there.
room, right? She got a little
Yeah,
secret
it's
room.
that little secret room. I
And
thought
she
it was
just looks at her money, That's
yeah, yeah. I thought that was funny.
maybe there's some hey, maybe there's something to this money counting thing.
Yeah, let somebody give us some money so we can count it and see how we feel about it. But you have to give the money to it. You can't take it back because
No, it
otherwise
has
we'll
to
have
be
the
ours.
feeling.
No,
Right, because we have to have
yeah,
the actual feeling that he has of ownership of the money and then counting it. Not just
and then putting it back, and then going to
right,
bed,
right. Not
going to
buying
bed,
anything.
going to
Right.
bed contently, knowing that it's there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna buy anything with it and nothing like that. I'm not
No, don't buy a
using
damn
it
thing. As a matter of fact,
collateral for anything else. Yeah.
I don't know if this happened in
Hmm.
I think this happened in Miss Scrooge. I'm not sure, but when Marley dies, Scrooge takes his house.
Yeah, that's in the book too. In the book,
And that happened in Miss Scrooge
he
too, I
dies,
think, right?
and yeah, and
Mhm.
Scrooge moves into his house and takes his stuff.
Did
That's
that
how.
happen in Miss Scrooge too?
I don't know because we never really see her in her house, do we?
I think that I think she lives in Marley's house.
She may have lived in her house, and that's the thing. It's like, come on now. I was like,
She got
man,
it for well the reason she got the house is because it's really cheap.
yep,
It's really
that's what's wrong. That's right. That's amazing though. But yeah, that Scrooge moved into Marley's house. That's. It's like, don't you already have a house of your own? you know,
No, I
don't
was
you
waiting
have
for you
your
to
own
die.
house?
I'm so I can move
Move into
in.
your place. That's right.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to
Wow.
die so I can move in.
Rent control.
Ah, there
Oh
we go.
yeah, which is
There we go.
everybody in New York is waiting for somebody else in a rent control apartment to die.
But I mean, I'm okay. I may not be sure, but you think that Marley would have owned this house, right? But you never know. You
Yeah,
probably have.
but if Scrooge is living there and when Marley dies,
Hmm.
didn't they say he had a will that it left everything to
I think so.
Scrooge?
Then he got all this stuff. I mean, they're
Yeah,
all.
probably no,
Because
but it's
Your
in the
business
name of the
partner,
corporate, probably the name of the firm. The firm
right,
owns it,
right.
maybe.
Your business partner gets all your stuff. How awful. Mm. Nobody else there with you but your business partner. And then when Marley died, all there was Cratchit, and he treated him like garbage. But what they have to say is that Cratchit was complaining, like we said about, well, no, he did not complain, never complained. But the concept that Cratchit had to go home for Christmas and said, that you pick a man's pocket, every 25th of December. That is nasty as Scrooge was. He actually paid him on the
They got
25th.
a paid holiday,
He
right?
paid him. He paid. I'm just saying though, but he paid the holiday. So I mean, I would think one thing is he did not pay the holiday. That would have been really, really over the top.
Well, that's what happens in this country, right?
Yeah, this
There are
country,
many people. There are many people. You don't show up for work on December 25th. You don't get paid.
you don't get paid. But at least Scrooge actually paid people. He paid Bob Cratchit.
but he didn't pay them what they were worth.
But at least
No,
you paid him
he paid
something.
him. He paid him his pay for
The
that
people
day.
in this country, don't get paid on December 25th. They just don't get paid.
That's right. They just don't get paid. So you don't show you can't work on 25th. Oh well, that's not one of your work days. So or they say, well, you don't have to come to work that day. You don't get fired, but you won't get paid either.
You won't get paid. Like
Which,
every what fast food joint, wait
mhm,
staff.
yeah,
You know,
you don't get paid
you don't get a dime.
because you didn't work that day.
Yeah, paid. How did you think about that though? Like
Mhm.
if you get a job and paid holidays is like a benefit. I said, what the hell benefit?
It should be the way. I mean, it's amazing places in Europe where people get 5 weeks paid vacation. You know, and it's amazing that here it's like you have to work like a
And we
dog.
I understand that
It's a
places
burden. Hmm.
there's places in this states and companies in this country where we don't even share the same holidays, right?
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
there's a lot of holidays that come in and people they don't have the day off and they don't get paid. If they don't show up, they don't get paid, or they have to use some of their vacation or sick time or some sick leave. We have this concept of sick leave. It's just but who would say that Scrooge was progressive in labor, right?
Yeah,
He paid, like you said, Penelope.
he paid.
He paid for Christmas.
Yep, and he paid. He paid Cratchit to stay home for Christmas.
He bitched them on about it,
Yep, but he still paid.
but he still paid.
Okay, I
I
put
don't.
in the IMDb search that I did for Christmas Carol, and I'm putting that here on the screen so that it was just go there, just to just the lazy thing. You just go to IMDb and put Christmas Carol, but I already did the work for you. So you can go in and check everything as a title, Christmas Carol, Mickey's Christmas Carol, Scrooge. All of these are listed here for Christmas Carol. So just check it out, that little listing. and maybe there's something in this list that appeals to you. You know, every one of them may not, just like every one of them doesn't appeal to us. But one that doesn't appeal to us may appeal to you and get you, in that Christmas spirit and thinking in terms of no matter all the stuff that you've done in the past, that you feel those little pinpricks of regret. That maybe going into this season, you think about the your redemption arc and do things different. Maybe come out of this end of this year looking at your new year to do things different.
And understand the other Christmas Carol story, the after story.
Oh my gosh, what was that? It was it was an amazing
It's on
story.
the. It's hard to find. It's on the
Mm-hmm.
Bing Crosby whatever thing,
Okay, Bing
and
Crosby.
it shows what happens when kind of Ebenezer Scrooge started his redemption tour. It's
Yeah,
like people kind of took advantage a little bit, or a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. I mean, it was so sad because he had done all this stuff and turned his life around, and people then took advantage of him. It was so great. It was absolutely great. I was trying to figure out where to find this thing.
It's like a
But
Bing Crosby comedy hour or something, or
hmm
something. It was
yeah.
something.
Well, I'm trying to look and I
But
can't find it.
Tiny Tim was a, oh my God, that
He
guy.
was a jerk.
Yeah, he grew up and he was a
Complete,
bitch.
yeah, a complete and total jerk. And I remember the way that I found it before is that I remember the Ebenezer Scrooge, and they put on his tombstone Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah, I think Ed Begley Jr. was
hmm
played Tiny Tim.
I don't know who. I mean, they were awful. They were awful. And it's like he did all this stuff, and then it tried to be.
And people act like they
Um,
deserved it.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
whatever he gave away or charitable, and like people said, yeah, that's good. You know,
yeah. And
that's
then the people that he worked with and tried to do good for, they were stealing from him. Overcharging
they were
him.
overcharged. Yeah, it's like, and you know
Yeah,
what
I
though?
mean,
Here's the thing with that story.
mhm.
It's the after story of Scrooge, right?
Yeah,
Like
I really like
whatever
that.
years later.
Yeah,
But I think it was. I think it came out during the '80s. And do you
yeah.
think that's a reflection of like the Reagan years or this?
hmm
I hate to put a political spin on things, but maybe that's how people thought about people who receive charity or receive benefit. Like they call these things in DC
hmm
in government. They call these the things where people get assistance. They call them entitlements.
hmm
And so when people act entitled,
hmm
it makes people, it offends some people, right? So
Yeah,
they
but
call
the
these
thing,
things entitled. Yeah,
how many corporations are entitled, and nobody thinks anything about that. It's just like what it's like. It's like it's just going off topic right quick. It's like in Westworld. They say, I don't see anything. Yeah, it's like if
yeah,
a person did it, and they'd be like, oh my god, I can't believe it. Corporation does it. It's like I don't see anything.
yeah. Well, so the people in the after schools, the after story,
Mm-hmm.
act entitled. They
Mm-hmm.
got entitled. They take advantage instead of charging 6 pence for a muffin
Mm-hmm.
or something. They charge
Yeah.
30 or whatever.
And they were overcharging him and not giving him the things that he was supposed to get. It was like, wow, this is how we really are. Is this why somebody becomes like that,
That's
taken
the
advantage
'80s. I think it was a political environment kind of. It's
of? Mm-hmm.
funny, but not funny at the same time. It's funny,
Mm-hmm.
not funny.
Yeah. Funny, not funny. Yeah, I can't remember the okay. Okay. This thing on Blogger, somebody has a list of Christmas Carol adaptations. And this in the second alternate future, Scrooge has been buried in a pauper's grave under a headstone marked Ebenezer Scrooge. So let me see what this is, because this is a list of the adaptations. Okay. Um,
I'm trying to remember. And
okay.
yeah, I can't remember the TV episode ones as well as I can the movie ones.
Yeah.
I think it was like Ben Crosby or Jack Ben something.
Okay, let's
Oh,
see.
George. What's his name? George Burns.
Ah, that makes more sense.
It was George Burns.
Okay. It's 1985 episode of the George Burns Comedy Week.
Right. That's what it was.
So if you can look for that, I'll put,
And to me, like I said, a reflection of the '80s.
mhm,
You know, all of that stuff about greed is good and all that other stuff, and
yeah,
people being entitled or acting entitled
yeah.
to
So,
benefits or charitable.
so if you look in the comments section, it's a Christmas Carol to 1985, an episode of the TV series George Burns Comedy Week. And I'm just gonna see how much it will show because it's very long. So if you go into the comments, you'll see it. But if you want to look it up, the Christmas Carol to the episode of the TV series George Burns Comedy Week. And yeah, he is. It says that it's revealed that Scrooge is good natured to a fault, and all of Camden Town. Um, come on, all of Camden Town takes advantage of his generosity. Scrooge is so giving of his fortune that the townspeople end up taking all his money. This prompts the spirits to return and make sure Scrooge reaches a median between his past and current behavior. So yeah, that's it. Excellent. So if you see this, look it up. It's short, very good though, very funny.
It's funny, not funny.
Funny, not funny. Funny, not funny. All right. And thank you to the person on the what is this? The blog that I got this from. Profile Facts. It says, um, and they have this thing, a list of Christmas Carol adaptations. And I don't know if it was done this year or whenever, but it says Monday, December 13th. So I don't know what year it was, but they did that thing on a Monday, December 13th. It could be this 13th because that 13th is Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Oh,
saying this was on a Monday, the 13th.
Right.
So I don't know what year it was done, but it is here.
And by the way, does anybody care about Friday the 13th anymore? Yeah, nobody said anything about Friday the 13th, or people too afraid of Friday the 13th to say anything.
Probably. Don't say anything about it. Don't say anything. Maybe we'll forget we're here. Okay. So I mean we're about at the end of our time. So this is our little nod to these Christmas holidays. We're coming up. Next week will be what, the 21st? So it'll
Yep.
be the last show before Christmas, right?
Yep.
All
And maybe
right.
I'll have a big stack of money that I can count
And we can count
and
together.
not spend,
Yay!
but not spend.
But not
Put it that way.
spend or leverage to make any other money. We just want to count it. All right. Okay. All right, y'all. Thank you very much for joining us. And hope you have a nice, productive week as we slide into the end of the year. And we'll be back again next week here in the Otherhood. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful remainder week. Anybody birthdays, celebrations that you're coming into?
Your
Yes,
mom.
my mom's birthday is on the 18th. That will be before the next show. So happy birthday to my mom on the 18th of December. Anybody else? Any December birthdays we want to be celebrating or shouting out?
Oh,
Calling?
there's way too many. I have way too many here at the end of the year. So happy birthday to everybody.
All right, there we
My
go.
sister Anjanette's birthday.
All right, when is hers?
Hmm?
When is her birthday?
Her birthday was, I should have said something a long time ago. It
When
was
was
on
it?
the 2nd of December.
Ah, the second. Well, happy belated birthday. Okay, cool. All right then. So everybody have a wonderful remainder of your weekend. We'll be back again next week. Take care of yourselves. Good night.
Good night. It's like see me over the thing. Good night.